This year marks 10 years of the Five Nights at Freddy's franchise, and I wanted to do something special for the anniversary. And I figured why not talk about something that was in development for almost as long as the series has been around. To give a brief history, Five Nights at Freddy's is a franchise I've been with since it started. I was in middle school when the first couple of games came out, so I was the perfect demographic for the games. Everyone in my classes talked about the first game, daring each other to play it on their iPhone 4s. I was personally too much of a chicken to play it back then, but was so intrigued by the aesthetic, secrets, and lore of the game that I was hooked. I loved watching Markiplier on the bus rides to school and home with my Skull Candy earbuds. That and Mario Warfare if anyone remembers that. To dive back into the movie, back in 2015 it was announced that a feature film based on the series was in the works with Gail Keenan as director, who is known for the film Monster House and most recently Ghostbusters Afterlife. Over the next couple of months, little teases of looks at bringing the animatronic characters to life were posted on Keenan's Twitter, but shortly everything went radio silent. Eventually this version of the film was scrapped, with Keenan stepping out of the directing role, with the film rights moving over to Blumhouse, and Emma Tammy now set up as director. Years passed by, but in 2020, the series creator Scott Cawthon announced that a screenplay was chosen and production would properly start soon. And then the world shut down for a bit there. But eventually the movie began shooting earlier last year, and released right on time for Halloween weekend. I went to see this movie opening night. Even though it was a late showing, I was still surprised just to see how many people showed up to actually watch it. And my theater experience was a pretty positive one. I saw the movie twice in theaters. The first time on my own to form my own thoughts, and the second time I took a friend to see it. I brought along my little Freddy plush, and she brought Foxy. Look at this picture. Foxy looks like the biggest Freddy fan and can't wait to see him on the big screen. With the backstory out of the way, let's get into talking about the film itself. I'm not going to break down the plot, as I feel like you should go and see the movie beforehand. But if you want a really quick breakdown of the plot, the movie is indeed Five Nights at Freddy's, which actually surprised me. I thought it would be one night trying to survive as the animatronics came to attack. But no, it was indeed 5 nights. I wouldn't really call this a review of the film, more of just a ramble about what I liked about it, and things I have questions about, as well as things I think can be improved for the sequel. I first want to talk about the look of the film. The camera angles, lighting, and general set design is great. I love how the pizzeria has a lot of 80s, early 90s feel to it. I especially love these little stained glass pieces of Freddy and the gang that are on the ends of the booths. Reminds me of those old Pizza Hut chandeliers. We sadly don't get to see all of the pizzeria because of how the film is shot, but they put so much love into the sets. Thankfully, a lot of behind the scenes pictures were taken so we could take a better look at the pizzeria, and especially the office, which also is now a break room. Looking at it, you could tell many coffee and smoke breaks were taken back here from the chaos of kids' birthdays. It feels so lived in here. Other than the murders, I feel like this place would have been not too bad to work at. Like, it really feels like the place was just quickly abandoned after the kids went missing, leaving everything as it was. The prize counter is pretty great. I love the idea that some kids spent so much time building up so many tickets just to get this Chica mask. Like, this kid spent weeks on the rigged arcade games just to rock this with their buddies. Actually, I wanted to mention, it's so cool that they use actual merchandise that's been released over the years as props. Like these Sanchi plushies, the security badge, and the Celebrate poster in the office. The Chica mask mentioned earlier is part of a Halloween costume set, and man, early FNAF merch looks so funky. They did fill up the bottom racks with cheap dollar store toys like any arcade place would. But what I also see are those new cups and shirts made for the film. Using new art of the animatronics are also on these posters in the party room. I both love them and have a nitpick with them. On one hand, I want a shirt of Foxy that just says ARG as much as the next person. But the art for these posters, cups, and even the sign on the front of the building are based on the animatronics, and not the concept of the characters themselves. Real life examples like Showbiz Pizza and Chuck E. Cheese base their art and merch on the characters. Because if I was a kid and got handed a plush that looked like this, I'd probably go, "Ah!" But you know what? As much of a nitpick as it is for me, I don't think it's too bad since the animatronics have a charming design. And the work put into making the pizzeria, the office, and Mike's house feels so real. We've all been to some type of arcade like Freddy's, and I'm curious what will be the state of the pizzeria in the sequel. At the end of the film, we see the place falling apart, and we know that the animatronics will be taking on a worn out, withered state they have in the second game, as well as the toy animatronics appearing. Another thing I wanted to talk about are the actors. Everyone does an absolutely amazing job. Josh Hutcherson does a great job playing Mike, and I love the brother-sister dynamic he has with Abby, played by Piper Rubio. Elizabeth Lale did a great job as Vanessa. One scene asking to dance, and another scene saying she'll shoot you, keeping you on your toes on what she's really up to. Kat Connor Sterling, Mary Stuart Masterson, the legend Doug played by Michael P. Sullivan, Joseph Pullican, Lucas Grant, as well as the other kids, everyone brings their A game to this film. I have to say though, one specific person did a killer job in particular. I'm talking of course about Matt Pattis Ness the waiter. Shout out to the dude in my theater who screamed when he said just a theory. No, while he did a great job, I'm talking about Matthew Lillard as William Afton. An absolutely great choice to play the series' most popular antagonist. His portrayal of William is creepy in the best way. Just about every scene he's in, he stole the show. And my gosh, that scene of him walking out in the yellow rabbit suit, amazing. I can't wait to see what his role is in the second movie. We all know Springtrap is going to show up, but I kinda hope they wait for a third film. We got the toys and withered animatronics for the sequel. Give them time to rot. I also want to say that all the actors who played the ghost kids did a great job. Creepy little kids, no words spoken, just chaos. I'll say along with the announcement of Matthew Lillard as William Afton, the announcement that Jim Henson's Creature Shop would be working on the animatronics and suit for the film immediately told me we were in good hands. And we finally got to see the suits. These things are perfect. Like, those are just the animatronics. I love all the set pictures we have where the animatronics are just sitting or standing around. Reminds me of the 1990 Ninja Turtles movie, which the Jim Henson's Creature Shop also worked on. When I first saw the trailer and posters for the film, I was not a fan of their glowing red eyes. I will always prefer the white eyes from the first game, but the red eyes have grown on me. It helps differentiate between the games and the films. These animatronics were on display at Blumhouse Behind the Screens exhibit at Universal Studios during their Halloween Horror Nights. And my gosh, I am jealous of everyone who got to see them in person. Freddy and Chica look just as surprised to see you as you are to see them. Bonnie's looking off into space while being blue. I've just accepted that. And Fox is just an angry dude. I love that he's just actually rocking shorts. They could have just made some generic cloth looking shorts he has in the games, but nope, went the extra mile and threw on some cargo shorts. I also love the detail of his eye patch just being duct taped to the back of his head. Truly the best engineering here at Freddy's. Since I have Foxy on the mind, for the movie they did actually make a version of Foxy that isn't broken down. Seems like it would have been used for a flashback, but possibly a different version of the picture Vanessa showed Mike in the movie. She would have been surrounded by the 4 animatronics, who look clean and Foxy rocking fuzzy Muppet legs. It's really weird to see him fixed up after only seeing him out of order all these years. I have to mention the fact that this film absolutely loves old FNAF fan theories from the early days. We have the Dream Theory, the fact that Purple Guy is technically Phone Guy, and the one that absolutely blew my mind in the theater, the fact that they made Sparky the dog real. Back when the original game first released, there was a pretty well-believed rumor that there was a secret animatronic that could only appear in Camera 5. It was later proven just to be fan-made, but almost 9 years later, and he just casually shows up in the film. Made me feel like being with this franchise for all these years paid off. Like, hey, you waited for this film? We're gonna pack it with goodies. Going into the movie, I was curious how much killing they would do. I mean, yeah, they would definitely talk about the kids being stuffed in the suits, and William was gonna get spring-locked. But would we get any more kills? Very happy to know that, oh yes, we got a good amount. And they pushed that PG-13 rating. In the first couple minutes, we already got our first kill. Poor night guard who gets his face grinded by a Freddy mask. This contraption still makes me squirm just watching it. It's such a brutal death. We get the other kills later in the film involving the thieves hired to steal and break into Freddy's. All the animatronics get their time to shine with a kill, except for Chica. She mostly shares it with the cupcake, but man, that cupcake is ruthless. We see what happened to its victim later in the film, and I was absolutely shocked that they showed this amount of gore in the film. But they get away with it by having the room be dark when we see it. But if you want to see the amazing work put into making a guy's face look like it was shoved into a wood chipper, behind the scene pictures are out there. The other kill I want to mention is Freddy's. 1. Max did not deserve that brutal of a kill. Sure, her brother and her were working with Mike's aunt, but she didn't break anything in the pizzeria, she was just there. When I first saw the movie, the bite happened so fast I didn't realize that you could see blood splatter on the wall. The other most notable kill from the movie is William's death by spring locks. the scene all fans were waiting for. I think it's perfectly done. The slow crunches you hear as all the spring locks go off one by one, and William saying his iconic line before going down for now is great. I really hope he gets some kills as Springtrap whenever he comes back. The last thing I want to talk about, pretty cool that we got some appearances of YouTubers who are very much connected to the growth of FNAF. Matt Pat of course got his role as the waiter, Corey Kenshin as a taxi driver who gets spooked by Balloon Boy. In the Employee of the Month display case that we see for half a second, we could see a couple more cameos. 8-Bit Ryan, Fusion Gamer, Razbowski, and Daco. But we almost had one more. Markiplier was originally planned to have been the security guard that dies in the beginning, but due to scheduling conflicts with his own film Iron Lung, he couldn't be part of the film. But to be honest, I'm glad we didn't have to watch him get killed. I probably would just sat there sad for the rest of the movie. I'm gonna stop the video here. You guys really liked this sort of ramble of the last video, and I want to get something out for the spooky season. While I have your attention, check out the book Five Nights at Freddy's the Week Before. It's a choose your own adventure book set in the original pizzeria from the first game. I won't give anything else away, but it's a fun read, especially if you're reading it to friends. Are you excited for the sequel? Let me know about it in the comments, and let me know if you want to see more FNAF content. And if you like what you watched today, why not consider subscribing? We're almost at 2K, and it would be insane if we hit that by the end of the year. Well, that's all for now. Until next time, hope you have a good day and a happy Halloween.